everybody, and welcome to the Stadium here. Fantastic atmosphere as Valencia take on Athletic Club, 25 times winners of the Copa del Rey, and it's Valencia who have won 8 times the competition. Their last win was back in 2019, Athletics' last title just 2 years ago in 2024. Neither of these teams having a particularly fun time in the Liga. In La Liga at the moment. Can the Cup offer some relief? Well, I think it offers some. We will give you our starting lineups. Okay, for Valencia, Stole Dimitrievski in goal. For Kier, Copete and Jesus Vázquez. Across the back, Luis Rioja, Urganic, Pepelu and Danjuma. In midfield, Beltran and Umar Sadiq to lead the attack. Just 2 changes, Vázquez and Sadiq to the side that pushed Betis all the way. Lucky to lose, actually, 2-1 in the Estadio La Cartuja in Seville on Sunday. There's Carlos Corberán. Looks as if he's got over a rough time when he looked to be pretty close to losing his hopefully won't be needed too much today. It is Israel Barcelona. Up to the line, Mario Melero for Athletic. Alex Padilla in goal, Aitor Gorozabal making his debut, Iker Monreal. Amric Laporte back after 2 months out with injury, and Leque filling in on the left. Jauregui and Mikel Vesca in midfield, and up front lots of changes. Nico Serrano, Selton Sanchez and Robert Navarro, and leading the attack Urko y Seta. Just one player repeating from Sunday's derby against Real Sociedad, and that is the incombustible Mikel Jauregui with the number 18 on his back. So lots of changes for Athletic. Monreal in because basically he's the only other available central defender, even though he normally plays for the B team. Talk about Athletic's injury problems in a few moments, but they are extensive. And with just 3 points between them and the relegation zone, maybe the club looking at this lineup is thinking, okay, priorities are a weekend match against Levante. Let's have a look. Valencia, they see the Copa del Rey as the chance to maybe get something from another disappointing season. Straight away, there is Iker Monreal in action. Just 20 years old, player born in Pamplona. And Gorozabal looks to send that one long. Pepelu helps it on, and Jauregui. Selton Sanchez with the number 44 on his back. Very, very promising young midfielder. Come through the Athletic youth. There's only one start and a handful of very brief appearances in the league. Mikel Vesca. Comfortably cut out there by Jose Copete. A couple of doubts about Copete. Did He seemed to pick up a knock at the weekend, but happily he has recovered. They do have 3 injuries. Valencia, goalkeeper Julen Aguirre-Zabala, who's on loan from Athletic, Mokhtar Diakhaby, and Rendal. As you see, Athletic Club Bilbao coach Ernesto Valverde having his most difficult season, really, even though Athletic did play Champions League. Having to pull out the extra demands of playing Champions League, and they've really mixed with the problems of a host of injuries. It's a nice little turn there from Shelton. Jaureguiza opens it out to Nico Serrano. Chance to loft that ball in. Not a bad delivery, and put out, however, for a throw-in. Gorozabal takes it. Back with Serrano. Once again lifts that one in, and Urko Iseta pressing, and goal kick, says the referee. So just talking about Athletic's injuries in central defence, they have Dani Vivian, Spain international, who is out injured, and Unai Eguiluz, who's been out all season with a knee injury. Geray Alvarez still suspended, although he's back training with the first team after giving positive for using a product to stop hair loss. Bear in mind, this is someone who's had two courses of chemotherapy against cancer. And Aitor Paredes, well, he managed to get himself sent off in the last round, so he's suspended as well. Laporte starting today. It's his first appearance in 2 months after suffering quite a bad hamstring injury against Atletico Madrid, so we'll have to see how the French-born Spain international is able to handle the pace, especially against someone like Sadiq, who, if he has a good day, can really make you suffer. Luis Beltran opening that one out wide. And straight away an early chance there for Sadiq. The big Nigerian joining from Real Sociedad permanently this time. From Real Sociedad. I think they've been offside. It probably was. So he scored more goals in the last season's second half of this campaign on loan for Valencia, and since joining in January, than he did in all of his time at Real Sociedad, who paid 30 million euros for him. Alex Padilla getting a chance in the cup. It was Unai Simon, regular starter in the league and was in the Champions League. Robert Navarro, but well intercepted. Should be comfortable for Gorozabal. There's Laporte looking to quarterback that one across the pitch to Gorozabal. Player who's started his career at Real Sociedad and then had a season at Alavés. There's now an Athletic. Leque. It's a bit too much on that one. Mr. Adaptable for Athletic. Plays at left back, right back. Has played a few games in central defence. Okay, with Stole Dimitrescu, former Rayo Vallecano stopper. Free kick, says the referee after that challenge. Just to let you know, if you're interested, there is another quarter-final being played at the same time as this, which is slightly strange. This means you can't see them both, unfortunately. Alavés against Real Sociedad, which is obviously a Basque derby in the Mendizorroza Stadium. Clear foul there by Inigo Leque. Dimitrievski. Selton decides to apply a wee bit of pressure. It's a nice play there from Monreal, who's been on the bench quite a few times for Athletic in the last few weeks, but hadn't actually got onto the pitch. And Carlos Corberan's job looks a bit safer than it did just before Christmas after 4-1 defeat to Celta, which basically saw the fans meet the Valencia team at the airport, but not in a good way. They were insulted, there was things thrown at them. Really, when things go badly here, the fans aren't always a big help. When things are going very well, they're excellent. When things aren't going great, well, then the booze and the whistle start. Fauquier back to Dimitrievski. Danjuma looks like he's found his football again. Danjuma, a pretty disappointing time in England and back at Villarreal last season. It should be a comfortable ball there for Padilla. He has been called into the Mexican national team squad a couple of times, even though basically due to his, I'm not sure if it was his grandparents. There it is, Costa Laporte. And Leque again. Another confident touch from Monreal. And Shelton. After he made a start and impressed in his debut against Oviedo earlier this season, as I said, he's been limited to really substitute appearances, and maybe that's seen him sometimes just try a little bit too hard. Serrano plays that one across to Mikel Vesta, but it's swept up by the winger Luis Rioja there. Dimitrievski again just rolls that out to Comert. Beltran once again, space for Danjuma. He's got Jesus Vázquez on this near side. Getting the nod ahead of José Luis Gaya today. And a lovely little turn there on the far side from Rioja. Got Fauquier with him. And doesn't pick him out with the pass. Pepelu. It's intercepted. Chance Urco is Theta looking for a clever little lead, but I don't think that's what the occasion needed, and it's now with Mikel Jaureguizar, player who's played by comfortably a long way more minutes than anybody else in the Athletic first team this season. Once again Rioja for Sadik. Selton gets a foot in. And that goes out for a goal kick. Just talk about Athletic. We talked about Athletic's problems in central defence. They've also got long-term injury in Beñat Prados and Marwan Sanabi, both after knee problems. Owen Sanset, last year's top scorer, has got a hamstring injury. Alex Berenguer suffering from arthritis, toe injury, which basically has hampered him all season. And Nico Williams is on the bench, but still having problems with his pretty well publicised pubalgia, pelvic injury, which flares up every couple of games by the looks of it. The club talked about it yesterday in a press conference, explaining why he hadn't been operated on, saying that over the last 9 or 10 months they've been trying different treatments, but that the player said he doesn't want to have an operation. even though it might meant he was fit for the World Cup, because he feels he wants to help the club. It's in a slightly difficult season. Leque loses out there to Rioja. Luis Rioja clean through, but it wasn't a great finish from the winger. Best chance of the game by quite a country mile, however. Robert Navarro. And again across to Iker Monreal. Given away, unfortunately, recovered by Okrinic. Diego Valencia again looking to take the initiative in these opening minutes, and well, Sadik's done well there to get round the back and again, but shows a bit too much of that to Aymeric Laporte, although the offside flag is up anyhow on the far side. Not so sure about that one, maybe just. That's the thing about Sadik, there's moments when you think he can be a world beater, and there are others when you think the ball is a stranger to his feet. Just remind you that Sol Square after 90 minutes would have extra time, and if it's Sol Square extra time, we would have penalties. And on Friday we have the draw for the semi-finals, which are home and away. First leg next week. Football Club Barcelona already qualifying after beating Albacete, not without having to work very hard last night. 2-1 in the end. Copete once again gets it back to Dimitrievski. Another offside. And again it's Umar Sadik. 3 offsides in the first 15 minutes here in Mestalla. So quarterfinals of the Copa del Rey. Athletic, because they were playing in the Super Cup, albeit briefly. I've only had to play the last 2 rounds. They won 1-0 after extra time against third tier Ourense before Christmas, and then won 4-3 again after extra time against second division Liga Hypermotion Cultural Leonesa. It was an absolute thriller of a game in which, as to be said, Athletic's defence gave left a wee bit to be desired on occasions, but they ended up winning after playing over an hour with 10 men after Aitor Paredes was sent off for giving a rather honest but not diplomatic opinion to the referee. Danjuma looking to get past Gorozabal, does so, goes down, and the referee says corner. It was a bit untidy there from Gorozabal against the Dutchman. Let's have a look. Got past Serrano, gets the better here of Gorozabal. I think if there is a foul, it's outside the area. And then it does go off his head, which is that. So that's why the referee gave a corner. So if there was a foul, and there could well have been, it was just outside of the area. Half cleared, once again looking for Danjuma, who tries to flick it down the line. I'm not quite sure who to, but it goes out for a throw-in for the visitors. So 25 times Copa del Rey winners Athletic. And there's that last chance as Leque made a bit of a mess of that one. Normally very reliable, but every so often Inigo Leque does have one in him. Don't think there's any contact there on Iseta, but he certainly saw the trademark on the boot. Once again, the referee just trying to put in a little bit of calm. But yeah, you could argue that was possibly dangerous play by Vázquez. Ogrinic does well, the Swiss international. Looks for Fulquier on the overlap. Should get there, Dimitri Fulquier. Good defending as well. Robert Navarro back to cover. So another corner for Valencia. Anticipates. It's a decent delivery. And goes straight back to Ogrinic. Tries to swing this in again. And that should be the ball for Alex Padilla. So this month or so hasn't been bad for Valencia. They were unlucky to lose to Betis at the weekend. Then prior to that, they won a dramatic game 3-2 at home to Espanyol, who have had a great start first half of the season, and it's all gone a little bit pear-shaped over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And they won away to Getafe, as well as taking in the last round of the Cup a decent win away to Burgos in absolutely filthy conditions in El Plantillo. Pouring rain, standing water on the pitch, an absolute nightmare. So conditions you might have fancied the lower tier team to do well in. In the end, Valencia were very solid. It's a late challenge. And free kick for Athletic. Mikel Vesca just getting caught there by Luis Rioja. Their voices against the club owner Peter Lim, Singapore-based businessman who actually helped turn things around when he first arrived, but has sort of a managed decline in recent years. Obviously nowhere near the investment that the fans here want, but did in them at the time come in with the money. Copete able to let that one go out. A little off the ball there involving Amaric Laporte, but I must confess I couldn't really see what happened, and neither did the referee or assistant down on this near side. Celta looking to pressure Dimitrievski, and it works out because Nico Serrano wins the ball. Gets it back. Gorozabal just earns him a little bit of space, and that's flicked wide for a corner.